Hey there guys, what's going on? It's Gale right here, back on the 5-9 channel, and we are here for the MHA mid-season review. Now, of course, we did a couple of the episodes early on in the season, but we decided that instead of doing an episodic review, we're going to be effectively doing a mid-season review instead, in between, and then an end-of-season review, and this will be applying to all our anime series as well, so such as the Kobayashi and Slime series as well. We did the first episode reviews, the mid-season reviews, and then the end-of-season reviews. We'll be carrying that on for future series to come, and potentially some shows such as maybe Chainsaw Man, as well as the Demon Slayer second season, we will be doing episodic formats for. But for now, we're here with MHA. With me today, we have Izz. Say hello.
Hello, how's it going?
Hey, let's go. Of course. We've been watching the MHA season so far. It's nearly 16 episodes, and so it's not really a mid-season review. Technically, it's kind of like the mid-season review of a mid-season kind of, but you get what we mean. Of course, 16 episodes in, we've got 9 more episodes to go and a lot more to cover, of course. So so far, how are you enjoying the season? Of course, we had the joint training arc, and now we were in the meta liberation army arc, but we more often call it the MVA arc, or My Villain Academia arc, for one episode, and then we're all of a sudden in the Endeavor Agency arc. How are you feeling about how they've been doing the season and how they're handling the arcs? Because you're a manga reader versus me, who's not a manga reader just yet. How are you feeling about the season so far?
It's just they're doing it pretty decently, I will say. The whole entire joint training arc was, I felt, a little bit dragged on too much because they want to add a little bit more details here and there,
Yep.
adding more visuals, which again is understandable because when it comes to the manga, you
Mm-hmm.
didn't really see too much because again they're just panels. But the creator just wanted to show as much as he could in the manga, and then once given the opportunity to do in the anime, he wanted to go a little bit more all out for it, which again it's understandable. But
Yep.
I felt like there was just some parts that was just a little bit too long.
Mm-hmm.
With everything that's like heating up, it gets me a little bit excited because then we get this like amazing fight that's going to happen, and I just can't wait to see that animated as well. So
Yeah.
watching all this play out, I'm like sitting here waiting with my popcorn, just like sitting on the side, like, all right, when is it gonna happen? When is it gonna happen?
Definitely agree with you. Yeah, for me personally, I will agree with you regarding the joint training arc, or class 1A versus 1B. I enjoyed the start of it. I think if you go back and watch our reviews, myself and Hydros, myself Waffles, I personally really enjoyed it because I felt like there were a lot of details that tend to be ignored through the storyline of MHA that kind of were brought up, which I actually kind of like. But as the episodes went on, I was just there like, okay, I'm liking it, but at the same time, I can see why people told me before the season started that this is going to be probably one of the more dreary parts of MHA generally, right? And I can see it, especially with the way they dragged it out as well. It felt like it was a bit dragged out. I felt they could have wrapped it up a bit earlier on, maybe episode 11. And yeah, so far that's been the case, but overall I still enjoyed it. I think there were some really good positives, like I said, the development of certain characters, as well as just seeing what everybody else has been doing apart from just Deku, has been fantastic to me personally. How about you? How do you feel about the development and whatnot of the characters that we saw in class 1A versus 1B?
The development for Class B, like we know Class A.
Yeah.
We
Mm-hmm.
all know Class A. They're basically like the top of the students. Like
Yeah.
they're all very powerful. Obviously, we get to see some of their new powers and stuff like that. But seeing Class B wanting that drive to do better and
Mm-hmm.
to defeat Class A, it really shows that, like, yes, these guys are side characters, but while we're just focusing on Class A, Class B was actually developing themselves because, like, they didn't want to be just, you know, the underbelly of Class A. They wanted to show their own pride. They wanted to show their own strength, and they really did show it in
Mm-hmm.
this joint training arc with them. But instead of talking about Class A and Class B, there is one character that I loved during this whole entire joint training
Mm-hmm.
arc, and that was
Yep.
Shinso.
Shinso, you got it there again.
Yeah, Shinso.
Yep.
My God, this man from the little tournament arc they had for the school, and him now, you see so much of a difference because
Yep.
in that tournament arc he just didn't care. He
Yeah.
was like, "I'm gonna crush everything, like, don't get in my way, blah blah blah." But now, like, he's starting to realize that yes, he has the ability to mind control, and people will see that as a villain quirk, but he's able to make it into something that he can now identify himself as a hero. And him training under Aizawa because Aizawa saw potential in him just like shows that like he's slowly opening up more and more as a person because he was very cold, very, he didn't care about anyone. But after the training and then him joining the joint training arc shows that he actually opened up as a person, especially when it comes to Deku.
Yeah.
He really did change personality, and I really loved his character to change in this.
No, I definitely agree. I like I said as well, and I'm gonna refer to a couple of my reviews. I loved how he changed so drastically as well. He felt like he was still training, and especially with Aizawa, and his mask and everything, he looked really really good. And then as you progress on through the episodes, and then of course the final fight more so, and then the end of the final fight, yeah, you can see his development and it's really good. I am very interested as a non-manga reader to see how he influences some of the events that are to come, of course. I feel like they're gonna probably hold off from him for now, because obviously didn't they mention that he's gonna be starting from the second year, so there's still time. Maybe he might appear later on. Maybe they might wait on until they get into that second year phase, of course. So yeah, personally, I really like that. Obviously, the animation, I think Bones did a great job with some of the fights overall. Really good from pretty much the first fight onwards, right? Like, I don't think I had any issues with the animation quality. I think that was Bones at some of their best. But speaking of animation, I do feel like some of the more recent episodes have shown a bit of like iffiness, but I don't know if that's just because they've decided to send some of the team to make the movie. Which, speaking of the movie, obviously, the most recent episode. Let's talk a bit about the most recent episode, which is of course a anime original, right? It's supposed to lead into the movie, right? Um, this is the second season in a row that they've done where the movie is being produced at the same time as the anime, right? Do you think that's a positive, or have you felt like so far it's looking like it's not really the smartest decision to do that? Because if you look at some other shows like Konosuba, they did a movie after the season aired, and then you look at Danmachi, it was between two seasons. You look at Dragon Ball, it's not even airing a season, and instead it's dropping movies. So how do you feel like with the way Bones is approaching doing a movie as well as a season at the same time? How do you think that's going well for them, or do you think it's something that they should stop doing?
I feel like it's something that they should keep their eye on because like it's not much of a bad idea per se, but it's like you basically shorthand yourself when it
Yeah.
comes to your staff and stuff like that when you have them focus on the anime and then have them the other half focus on the movie.
Hmm.
So it's just it's a little different because of everything. So maybe for them they feel like they're safe to do like both of these like at the same time, which again is understandable. But I just feel like if you want to make something really good, it's best to focus on one thing at a time instead of both things at a time, because sometimes it can like hinder yourself, so to
Yeah.
speak.
No, I agree. I completely agree with that. Actually, that is something that I've been saying even in the last when obviously season four aired with the second movie. It was very personally, I was just like, I'm not sure if that's the smartest decision to do, especially because you did notice in like especially the Mirio fight against uh, Overhaul. I almost said Derby for some reason. Overhaul fight against Mirio, right? It was a
Yeah.
slideshow, and that was evidence because it was partial evidence that they were obviously saving up for not only the Deku fight, but they were also working on the movie at the same time at that point. So, in my personal opinion, I think yes, it's a good idea. You can kind of hype up the movie alongside the anime, as well as the anime hype, or as well as the movie hyping up the anime. But you tend to also, like you said, shorthand the staff members, and that leads to potential issues in terms of quality. Thankfully, obviously, Bones, they're a decent company for the most part. I don't think we've heard anything bad about them, particularly compared to like say Mappa in recent weeks. But still, you do tend to notice like there's the staff do tend to be overworked a bit, especially when you're doing two projects at the same time, especially of both being high quality products, right? Or aiming to be high effort products, I should say, more so. So yeah, now let's move on to the arcs that we're currently on, right? So right now, episode 12, which was supposed to be the start of what was supposed to be the My Villain Academia arc, or the Meta Liberation Army arc, more so, was supposed to start, and then they jumped instead to the Endeavor Agency arc. Is there any particular reason you think they might have done this? Is considering you're a manga reader, that they decided to just jump between the arcs and potentially leave only 9 episodes for what is supposed to be one of the best arcs in MHA according to Twitter.
So yeah, it's because like they actually do coincide a little bit during times, the MVA and the Endeavor agency arc.
Mm-hmm.
So I can see like they're trying to like at least make it more cohesive and more coherent, because like again, they actually like they're like going at it like at the same time. Like there are some parts where the MVA is going and then the Endeavor agency. It's just like it helps trying to like it might seem weird jumping from like different like arc to arc, but it actually does like end up like telling like the whole story, because each arc actually leads up to the big battle that's going to happen within like possibly like they'll probably not get it to this season, but possibly the next season, where it'll start off with the whole entire big war, like the bit this big battle arc.
Mm-hmm.
So I can see what they're trying to do. It is a little weird, but it does help with trying to tie things in together. Because I know when I was reading it, I think they started off with the Endeavor Agency arc right after like everyone's like joint trading arc. They started with the Endeavor arc, if I'm not mistaken, or they might have did the two. But I know they did that. They did one arc first, and then they did the other like right after, so
Yeah.
there weren't that much of a difference,
Mm-hmm.
but having these coincide does make it a little bit easier to understand.
Understandable, understandable. Yeah, because it was kind of odd because I saw a few people, of course, some of you may know Zahal. Um, I was looking at his tweets and he was very concerned with the way they were doing this. So I was just like, let me ask somebody else that I know who reads the manga. So here I am asking, like, what are your thoughts on it? Of course, obviously we know that Endeavor is supposed to play also a big role in the movie, right? So do you think this is also partially a reason why they're doing it, so that they can bring Endeavor to a bit of the forefront to promote the movie as well, potentially?
Potentially, yeah. I have a feeling that it also might be one of the reasons
Mm-hmm.
for them doing it.
Yeah, because I can't think of any other reason why that they've done this, made this decision to also, obviously, apart from, like you said, make it a bit more cohesive, help the viewers understand it a bit more, and of course, so Horikoshi's obviously overviewing it, so it's probably going through him, and he's probably not saying no, it's not a good idea to do it. So yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see how they handle it, but overall, I think one thing I will say about it is, yeah, like, one, I will say it has dragged out a bit this season. It doesn't feel as amazing as the previous couple of seasons, especially season 4. I thought season 4 was going to be the kickstarter of like something great, because personally, for seasons 1 to 3, I was kind of iffy on MHA still. I wasn't like the biggest fan of it, but season 4 kind of was like, all right, I'm liking it a bit more now. Season 5 has dragged it on a bit, but I'm ready to get back into it, full fledged, and back it if it does show and prove that the MVA arc is like what everybody says it is. One more thing I wanted to mention as well regarding the MVA arc as well is, like, provided that they do finish the Endeavor Agency arc, say within the next 1 or 2 episodes, and then they jump into this Meta Liberation Army arc, is it enough? Is the amount of episodes left enough to cover everything? Or do you think they'll need to?
Uh,
Do you think they'll need to make it a continuation where it's like similar to last, between last season to this season, where the some parts of the pro hero arc, right, ended up continuing into this season, right? Do you think that's possible that they might have to do?
it is possible. I will say that it is very, very possible, but at the same time, maybe not. I'm really hoping that it's not, so that way it could leave off on the cliffhanger where everyone's excited for, like, it leaves off cliffhanger, and you're just like, oh, the big arc, this is gonna happen next season. It's gonna be the first episode, da da da. But like, if they just like, and if they don't finish it and they have to end off and they have to continue into the next season,
Yeah.
I think it's fine. because then like like it'll give people the lead up to it and then be excited. But I don't know. I feel like the smart move would be to lead up all the way to close to the beginning of the final of this big battle,
Hmm.
and then end it there, and then have people even more excited for the next season, as opposed
Yeah,
to, oh, they just didn't finish the arc, we're
yeah,
gonna continue the arc next season, stuff
yeah.
like that. So I have a feeling they might like more than likely it might end up like that, but I just really hope it doesn't.
Yeah, one thing I will say though as well, like before we wrap this up, I want to talk a bit about the music later on as well because I have some fighting words for the OPs and EDs of the season. I'm not gonna lie. I will say also I do feel they're also kind of dragging it out a bit because it seems like they're getting closer and closer to the final arcs, right? Like we're already, I think, right, from what I know and from what I've understood from people talking and talking to some other people, is that we're only like 3 arcs away, pretty much 3 to 4 arcs away from catching up to the manga, right? So I
Yep.
think that partially they might be also dragging it out just so that they can give the manga a bit of breathing space before they start the next season as well. I think that might potentially also, or before they start adapting more of the arcs. I think more so. I think is that what do you think about that? Do you how am I potentially right? Do you think that's possible? Because like
Oh
I
no,
yeah,
yeah, you are completely right about that one.
yeah,
Like 100%. It's because like I feel like they're like you're giving themselves 24 episode seasons
yeah,
essentially, so
hmm,
it's easier for them to slowly catch up to the manga, like like with every season when they come out, like every like once every once a year, and
hmm,
like any random season, like it'll catch up. So I do feel like they might just give themselves a little bit of breathing room,
yeah,
only because of the fact that I'm going to bring this up. It's what happened with Black Clover.
yeah,
Black Clover was initially slated for 24 episodes. Then they were like, "Hey, it's doing good, 48 episodes," and then it just continued every week until by the time they finished the battle in the Clover Kingdom.
hmm,
Once they finished that, they were legitimately like a couple chapters from catching up to the manga, and that's why they had to make this whole entire new arc for Black Clover, the training arc for that, so that way they could give more time for the manga to go farther into the chapters before they even catch up. So I have a feeling they might just be doing that because they don't want to get close to the manga and then have to like try to even make it even slower, and like try to like dumb down the pace even more just to let the manga catch up. So I have
yeah.
a feeling if they do end up like I said, like cutting this like at the end of the season and then continue on, that's fine. It gives the manga more breathing room per se, just to catch up, and so that way they're not right at their door knocking on their feet. It's like, yo, we're here, you know.
Yeah. No, I completely agree with you on that for sure, for sure. Um, okay, so let me talk a bit about the OP and ED. God awful, man. I don't understand. I don't know if it's just me. I've been speaking to some of my own personal Discord members, of course, and I've not heard a single person say anything relatively. And I mean, they haven't heard a person say anything about the OP or EDs. Usually, I'm here like oh, people talk about if it's good, bad, here and that. I've just heard nobody talk about it, and I personally just don't like it either. Like, I end up sometimes liking the OPs and EDs of MHA. Like, I enjoyed some of the season 4 OPs and EDs, but this season has been just questionable at best. So, how do you feel about the OP and ED so far? For both parts,
Uh,
the first part and the second part, of course, because there's two OPs, two
it,
EDs.
it's My Hero Academia, right?
Yeah.
It's a hero anime. You need the pump, bro. You need something to get you like excited.
Yeah.
And these are just like, hey, here's an OP, here's an ED.
Hmm.
Okay, that it doesn't like make me feel anything, because like when it comes to anime in general,
Yeah.
you need that strong OP.
Yeah.
You need that strong ED. So that way people are just like, yo, I'm like, I can watch this whole entire OP. Like, I can watch this whole entire opening for every single episode, not get tired of it, jam out and get ready for this next episode. And then, but like, when it's just the OP, like the first and second part OP, it's just, I listened to the first second, I was like, skip
Yep.
immediately.
Hmm.
Immediately. I was like,
Yeah.
not dealing with this. Nope.
Hmm.
It doesn't do it for me.
I
And I
I
hate
agree.
skipping OP sometimes. But like when it's something like that, I'm just like I no skip. It's just so sad.
Yeah, it's a shame because I think it, sometimes they do pull off bangers. Like I'll personally say, season three, Odd Future, right? The I think it was the
Oh,
first. I personally liked it. How did you feel about it?
oh no, I loved it. I was like,
Yeah,
when I went in like, oh, I mean like a good type of
yeah,
like,
yeah.
oh my god.
Yeah, no, I agree. I just think like that was such a good OP. I know some people feel it's bad. I know some people love it. It's polarizing, but I feel this season has just been there, And it's fine if there's some slice of life s kind of OPs in MHA. I'm down with it. Like for example, season 4 second part because it fit the culture festival. There was nothing crazy happening. Even the fight against gentle criminal, right? I think he it was fine. I think it was a good way to go about it. I think in that particular moment, but lately the way they've been going about it, personally, not the biggest fan. And I know they got who was it? I think it's Peggy's for the second OP, right? Which is fine. I love the Peggy's. They're a great band and great group. Doing like OPs and EDs for a lot of shows, but the shows I know them from are slice of lives or rom coms, which is where they're best at. So yeah, it's a bit of an odd one, but yeah, that's the OPs and EDs. The OST itself has been decent so far. I think that's been fine for me personally. But yeah, I think that's all from my end regarding this season so far. I feel they've done some good things in terms of developing the characters. It has dragged out a bit. I am also a bit concerned by what people are saying, and as a result, even I'm a bit concerned because of it. Because as I said, as a anime watcher, it's been cohesive, like as has mentioned there. But I do understand that there are concerns regarding how they're going to be approaching, like for example, the MVA arc as well as just the uh, Endeavor Agency arc and how they're going to lead into this big battle arc that's supposed to be coming. But yeah, how about you? Is any final thoughts regarding the season?
I just hope it brings itself back up because as don't get me wrong, this is a really good season. Like for all the stuff that's happening, especially which the stuff with Deku, which we didn't really mention too much about his new power,
True,
which
true.
is which is like the black whips and stuff like
Yes.
that. So like
Mm-hmm.
it is like heating up. I just feel like it kind of it's just like kind of dive off a little bit, and it's like it's starting to like go into a lackluster season because only I feel like only because of the fact of not only are they catching up to the manga, they're also focusing on the movie, so
Mm-hmm.
it feels a little bit lackluster. But I mean, there's only strong things, like only I can hope. Well, actually, only we everyone can hope really that they could bring like they can at least bring out something that'll just like wow like the audience and stuff like that. So
For sure.
it is a little bit of a lackluster season for me. Like out of all the seasons of previous MHAs, this is probably the most lackluster for me. Besides, like some of the character developments here and there, but it just has to do something. It has to do something and bring itself out of that rumble.
Yeah, I think it can. I think we have still 9 episodes to go, and we will be talking about it at the end of the season, of course, when it wraps up. Which we're looking forward to doing. I think it'll be myself and Izz again. We might bring on Hydros for that as well, to go for a trifecta. But yeah, thank you so much, Izz, for joining me for this mid-season review. Glad to have you on board as always, of course.
Thank you for inviting me off when Hydros is currently busy with other stuff. It
Yeah,
feels appreciated that I was one of your first choices.
I mean, hey, I gotta try and find somebody or the other because Hydros is missing. He's gone, like the wind.
Exactly.
Well, no, he's actually just busy with 5-9 stuff, of course. Hopefully we can drag him out of his rut by the time the season ends, of course, for a third member. But yeah, once again, thank you guys so much for watching this mid-season review. Leave your thoughts down below, of course. Leave constructive thoughts, of course. Don't bash ours or anybody else's thoughts on the season, of course. Let's have some constructive discussion in the comment section down below. Of course, if you enjoyed this sort of a video, leave a like, subscribe for more anime related content. We'd love to do more, and we will be doing more as the weeks come on. We'll be covering stuff like the Dragon Ball Super movie news, showing you and reviewing some gems in the future, as well as just doing reviews for these sort of shows as well. Once again, thank you so much for joining us, and we will see you guys in the next potential video. Take care.
Bye.